So it's challenging, but it's beautiful at the same time.
I was going to ask, is that hard sometimes?
It's hard.
Yeah.
In the moment, you're just like, you're about to lose your mind, right?
Because you're speaking a different language.
Like, I don't know what you're saying.
Can you tell the people a little bit about yourself? I mean, where you're from and what it is that you do?
I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, originally, and I just create music. Mm-hmm. For the most part, I've started just playing instruments. I play piano, guitar, a little bit of bass and drums, just like a lot of random-ish. Started writing songs when I was in high school. Then I went to school for music therapy, so that's kind of where my sound was shaped, I would think. Took a lot of different music lessons and folk music and jazz. Grew up on a lot of gospel music and just took film courses, dove like really deep into film music. And that's kind of been my journey so far. And then I would say when COVID happened is when I started composing for short films.
Wow.
And I've done maybe 5 or 6 so far. And so I'm kind of like creating a marriage between both, songwriting and composing.
Growing up in South Carolina, you know, that you're exposed to a lot of things. You mentioned all the different types of music. Was it always music for you from the very beginning? You know, sometimes people say, you know, I knew I was going to do this for the jump. Was it always music? Did you always know you were going to be a singer, work professionally in this industry?
No,
okay.
I didn't. I always loved music.
Okay.
But at the time, it wasn't an option. You know, like you're Southern and you're supposed to be a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. So I went to school for physical therapy, I believe, first. Wow. And I was skipping class to like go practice. So this was like my second year of college. I said, let me see if I can find something that kind of a middle ground to appease my parents.
Yeah.
So then I applied to go to music school to study music therapy. And so that was like, I think the thing that I thought could kind of help me use music, but still have a profession. I never worked in music therapy.
Tell somebody who doesn't know music therapy. Maybe they like, okay, that sounds cool, but you know, obviously I'm a little bit more aware. But for those maybe students or in high school or anything trying to pursue, what is music therapy and what were some of your day-to-day things that you were doing or skipping out on to go do what you wanted to do?
Music therapy is music and psychology merged together. It's using music to help someone work through a mental health crisis, to help someone work through behavioral issues, which is where I sat mostly for behavioral health. And you take something that's familiar and you can reshape it for the person. You can also create something from scratch. We did a lot of guided meditations. We did a lot of using music for relaxation, using music for reorientation if someone was having like an out of body experience. So it was just finding the ways to use music to help someone reorient into themselves.
That's a really powerful tool. And I think music does that in general. And sometimes like you don't even realize you're doing or experiencing music therapy until you break it down like that. That's why I wanted you to say that, because that's really unique. Now, you went to school for that, but you know you had an itch somewhere else. Can you talk about that a little bit, transition, and how you really found that bug?
You know, so I graduated, and after graduation, you're supposed to do like a 6-month practicum in a hospital.
Yeah.
I did that, and at the time, music therapy wasn't considered something that was funded, so we had to write grants and do all the things to try to get jobs. I didn't care enough to like really go down that.
Yeah.
And by that time, I was already writing a lot of songs and I was performing for my friends. And I had a friend just kind of nudge me to like, hey, you should record something. And this is Columbia, South Carolina. We didn't have a lot of, singers and recording artists at the time. So I did a record called Lovelations. This was 2011.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I did that, I just kind of sent it out to a few people, radios, and started traveling. And it just kept snowballing from there.
Wow.
So eventually I moved to Houston, Texas for whatever reason, I don't know.
Beyonce, I mean,
I was
come
just
on.
like, I kind of want to move, you know?
Yeah, for real.
So I moved to Houston and I worked on more music when I got there. Then I ended up in LA. Just another I think I want to go there.
Yeah.
Just really following my creativity, I think. And then I look back and just realized that's just what's the plan all along. I just didn't know it,
Isn't it funny how that happens?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They talk about this quote. They say life is live forward but remember backwards all the time. And it's like you don't realize until you're on the other side.
Yes.
And so sometimes that's encouragement while you're in the midst of whatever season you're in now. Because you're like, I don't know why I'm dealing with this now, but maybe 5 years from now, 5 months from now, I'll understand, oh, that's the reason why I had that.
Yeah. It always comes together.
What would you say is twofold, your kind of process for songwriting, and were there any influences as you were finding your voice? No pun intended, but you know what I mean? You're finding your voice.
Honestly, I would say it's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
India Reid, Nora Jones, that was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
When she did Don't Know Why. That album came out. And I was like, I see myself here, right? But again, I loved, a lot of my favorite songs came from TV. So I would watch a show and I'm like, that, and I just kept finding different songs. And I would sing them, but of course my voice is my voice. So it would always come out in a different way. So for example, I remember watching The Mannequin and the song Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. Nothing's gonna stop us now. That is one of my favorite songs, right?
Yeah.
But it was just such a powerful moment. I remember just watching the movie and hearing the song, and I would just always sing it. But my presentation is not going to sound like theirs, right?
Right?
So I think it's just when I was skipping class, I was listening to a lot of jazz. Like Art Tatum, Oscar Peterson, Dave Brubeck. I was just in it, and I would just spend hours just on the keyboards.
Yeah.
My mentor in college, she was a Joni Mitchell fan. So, and that's how I learned how to play the guitar. So I finger pick a lot. So it was just I kind of grabbed a little bit from everything.
Yeah.
And I love everything.
Yeah.
I love all of it. And it's just you'll kind of borrow from this and this and that, but it still creates my own expression.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that music. And you talked about something we'll speak to a little bit later, but just how TV influence. It's these little seeds that are planted that, again, you don't realize.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's things that I'm doing in my career, in my life now, where all along it was a skill that I was developing and I didn't even realize it. If there is a soundtrack that you could have been part of or could be, what is that? Because you talked about, TV. So I just want to jump real quick while it's fresh in my mind.
Love and Basketball. Okay, I'm going to just go and I'm going to say anything John Williams I love. So I would love to have been a part of that. You may think I'm cheesy, but Twilight.
That's not cheesy. We saying we cover everything.
Everything,
you know?
Right? Yeah.
This is why I say that too, because it gives hope and excitement to other Black people, Black women who may have a taste for something, but they're like, oh, well, I'm in a box. They don't think we watch everything.
We watch everything.
And we're not all the same. And so you having a taste for that is okay, I'm not, I think we're past that now in our society now, but it's before it's oh, I'm not a weird person or a weird kid or an outlier because I like this or I come from this community.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I'm always on the outside.
Yeah.
I would say Grey's Anatomy.
Okay.
Grey's Anatomy, from beginning to end, I love the music of Grey's. I love every song that's placed and how they place it. So,
what about, let's take Love and Basketball and Grey's. What about those soundtracks stick out to you, or is there something that they do in particular that you say, I love that? Obviously, we know John Williams. We could have a whole podcast talking about him.
Sure.
But what about those shows in particular? Because I mentioned that Love and Basketball has been, iconic film, and Grey's is still doing what Grey's does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Grey's Anatomy, let's start there.
Yeah.
They are really good at capturing the emotion of the scene. A lot of the times it's really not about what the the artist is saying is more about like the emotion that the music is portraying under the scene. And they're really good at, knowing what the scene needs.
Yeah.
And helping. The music is always delivering. It's really like underscore with Grey's Anatomy. It's songs, but it's so close to composition, like as far as if you scoring a movie.
Yeah.
Love and Basketball is like, there's one song, you made a fool of me, tell me why, right?
Mm-hmm.
You made a fool of me, tell me why. The song is like, she is basically saying what the character is thinking. And knowing how to use songs that like the lyrics is kind of finishing the sentence of what's happening on screen.
Yeah.
I think that was done beautifully in Love and Basketball. So for two different reasons is why I really love.
Do y'all understand how beautiful it is to talk to a singer, songwriter, composer about music and they break it down like that? It's the character. That is so true. That's why it's like there's certain things you watch and you feel it and you can't even express or understand why, but it just does something to you. That's how powerful music is. That's how powerful the writing was. And shout out to everybody. Gina, shout out to our mentor, the one and only Terrellin Shropshire. You've done a few things recently and you had that collaboration with Universal Music. And there was a quote or something that was said in there, and I want to say this to you as it relates to your describing Grey's and describing Love and Basketball. Your music was said to have been described as refreshing, organic, authentic, and meaningful. It makes you smile, right?
Yeah.
That feels good, right?
Yeah.
How would you describe your music and what goes into your process?
I would say when I write a song, 80% of the time is from an emotional space. Either I've just experienced something or there's something within me that I need to express that I just can't do otherwise. So I'm like, let me find an instrument and get it out. And it normally just comes out like lyrics, melody, all that stuff together. Sometimes I am watching something on TV and it just sparks, something. If I could kind of relate to it, it will spark an idea. And I think for me, it is, I've always, like you were saying before, just kind of like, as a Black person, sometimes you don't fit the norm.
Yeah.
And you may be like an outlier. And like sometimes my expression has kind of been like, it's not really enough, And so it took me years to just find my expression and how I wanted to say things and be okay with how I present it. And so I think as of late, even with the Universal Project, it was just kind of my stamp on this is who I am. This is how I wanted it to be done. Yeah. Like I love minimalistic music. I don't like doing a whole lot of stuff. Like I like for the lyrics to breathe. I like for the voice to breathe and for the music to kind of lift the story. And so I think when I'm approaching music, it's really just about allowing the story to be told versus trying to get the beat to move you. It's just, I'm more of a storyteller than anything, I would say.
I'm ready to work right now. I just need a budget, give me some chips. Let's go to work.
Okay.
There's two things I want to talk about, but we'll stay with Universal Music. How did that collaboration come about? And you didn't know this because we're just meeting and going, but that project dropped on my birthday, February 25th.
Wow.
When I was looking up the details, I said, this is a
That's
vibe.
Crazy. Happy belated.
Thank you so much. We celebrating because, February is the shortest month, so we got to take up a couple more.
You got to keep celebrating.
We do. Yeah.
Okay.
I was listening to it, and from the first track, it's like you put something on, you're like, we're going to do this interview. Let me put this on and listen. And I stopped, and I was like, oh yeah, I like this. This is a vibe. Can you talk about that collaboration, how that came about, and what that meant to you to have that opportunity?
So I had a friend who used to work with Universal, so still kind of plugged into it.
Yeah.
And I think he was approached about finding artists who can connect with them for their library placements. And so he recommended me for this project, and I sent them a few songs. And so interesting. So like they were just kind of asking for different things. And like, we want some R&B tracks. We want a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And I was like, okay, I can try to give you that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give you this other stuff too. Like this folk-ish, whatever, guitar stuff. And they were like, let's do a cinematic folk record. And for me, it was like kind of the stamp on your expression is enough. And I had some songs lying around, and I had a lot of other ideas that I really wanted to play with. I reached out to a few people to kind of help me finish the project. And in the end, I just end up doing it. Like I produced all the songs, wrote the songs, and I do believe in the spirit of collaboration. I believe heavily in collaboration. But I think for this project, it meant so much for me to just do it because it showed that I can get it done.
Yeah.
There have been times when, I've had like songwriting sessions and I'll give you the song and it's kind of almost completed, but I'm just the songwriter and this person is the producer. And it was like, no, you actually can produce as well. It was a beautiful, affirming moment for me just to complete a project in its entirety.
How do you walk into that as a Black woman and stand on what you want to do and say, no, this is it, and just kind of move forward with that and trust that you're enough to be the producer, to be that?
I remember the first song that I completed and I sent it off to somebody and he was like, yes. And I said, oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
You like that?
Mm-hmm.
And it was fine. And so I kind of drew back on like some of my past experiences. Like, okay, you've done it before.
Yeah.
This is a bigger scale, but just steps. So I just kind of planned out, okay, well, we just finished these two. A lot of studying, a lot of like, what don't I know? And just kind of figuring out, okay, what do I need to learn in this process? So even like a lot of it I recorded in studios, I recorded at home. I went out and bought extra instruments. Like I wanted a harmonica and something. And I was like, I don't know anybody who plays it. Let me see if I can, Yeah. So I'm just a type who just experiments with different things. And then if it's not good, then I'll, throw it out. But it was important just to kind of put your creativity out there and then give it to them. Mm-hmm. And all they can say is yes or no.
Yeah.
But it's not up to you to stop yourself, A lot of times we can second guess ourselves before the opportunity can give us a yes. So you've already counted yourself out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if they've trusted me enough to do this project, I got to trust myself enough to deliver on it. And then if there's a problem, then I'll just know, okay, I was good enough for you to say yes to this. I just need a little bit, of help to get it across the finish line, But I think you just have to like stop telling yourself no before somebody else can tell you no.
Come on. That's beautiful. I mean, that's so real. We all do it.
Sometimes we feel like if we're not at this certain level, then we just discount all of it. And it's like, no, you're where you are. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is keep adding to it.
Yeah.
Just keep adding to it and don't compare yourself to someone else's journey that you picked up on. And I think for me, like sometimes I start digging for like, where am I in this industry? Mm-hmm. Like I see other women doing certain things. I see other Black women excel. And I'm like, okay, it's possible.
Yeah.
And I think just having the idea that there's a possibility for me to have space there. And then looking like I just love to learn and I love to like dive into what's happening and say, I can do that.
Yeah.
Because you can.
You can.
If it's in your mind, you can do it, right? Yeah. And then sometimes you just need to find the missing pieces. But
I say this a lot, but it's like people like, well, what's your path? And I was like, well, my path wasn't the path when I got here. It was trees and woods, you know what I mean? And now it's a path.
Yeah.
But before it was just nothing. So what is something that you might say to them as they're about to navigate on this journey, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's somebody changing careers in general?
Yeah. I think it's what you just said, like my path is my path.
Okay.
I feel like I said earlier, sometimes I look for evidence to like see if I can exist in that space. Mm-hmm. But no two people have the same path, and I think sometimes you just need to find, I would say, gosh, so many things I would say. I think it's important to sit alone and really decide what you want.
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to start wanting a lot of stuff when you see a lot of stuff and a lot of people doing things. And you're just like, oh, I want to do that. And you don't, you know? So like decide who you are and what you want.
Yeah.
And maybe keep that close to you until it feels safe and solid, and find what you need to get it. And just have tunnel vision. Don't look at so-and-so failed. I may not. You know, so many people have tried it. Like you hear the industry is bad. It's bad right now. People are leaving. I'm coming. You know, like you just kind of have to like be a little delusional. I know like
it's real. No, I get you.
You do, because you just never know. And I think back on like 10 years ago when people were like, the music industry is dying. So a lot of people quit.
Yeah.
And within the 10 years, you've discovered so many people who've entered and have excelled at it.
Yeah.
You're like, what if I could be the one to excel while everybody else is falling away? The economy's been down.
Yeah.
You know, like we've been singing about that since 1994. Just do it. You know, I think it's just really having tunnel vision and protecting your vision.
Yeah.
Is big. It's what I'm still doing it now. So
yeah. No, it's real. When it comes to the post-production process of composing.
Yeah.
What's something that you learned with the short films that you were doing that you didn't know before? Maybe it was like on the outside, you're like, oh, I could do that. And then you got into it, you're like, okay, yeah, I can do that. Or like, oh, I didn't know this was part of this journey.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing I learned is that it is not my creativity alone. Like I'm the catalyst to get the music into the film, but my creativity needs to combine with that of the director and the producers and all the things. And you really have to learn how to shape your vision to fuse together with theirs. I've done a few projects when the director was like, go, just run with it, whatever you want. And then I do, and they're like, yes, that's it. And then I've done something, they're like, maybe this and this and that. And you have to learn how to really collaborate and really like read between the lines sometimes with people.
Yeah.
Especially like if you're non-musical, like we all speak different languages. And so it's challenging, but it's beautiful at the same time.
I was going to ask, is that hard sometimes?
It's hard.
Yeah.
In the moment, you're just like, you're about to lose your mind, right?
Because you're speaking a different language.
Like, I don't know what you're saying. I know what you want.
Really,
But then it's like when you finally get it, you're like, that's it, you know? And I think it's beautiful to take someone else's vision and like create a sound around it.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest thing I've learned is just to really be flexible, but also like this is a piece of you, but it's just not yours. It's ours. Mm-hmm. And if you approach every project with this is our project, and you just have to be open to being flexible and bendable with your own creativity.
Yeah.
I would say like I love Nicholas Britell. I love everything he's doing. I think when I came across Amanda Jones and I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. I think it's just something about seeing a sister in the space. I don't know her, but it's just like, you kind of feel like, okay, there's room.
Yeah.
And so like, I think she's one of the ones that I saw and I was like, okay, maybe there's space in me. Because growing up, like I took film class and we just talked about all the greats and we weren't there, until later I discovered like Florence Price. And I was like, oh, this is someone who's been a major composer, very influential, but not at the forefront, And so I think it's really important to see us in the forefront because it just helps.
As a Black woman, how has it been for you working in some of these spaces when you might be the only one or the only face or anything? Is it we can nod and smile at each other in silence because we know that's how it is sometimes, but you feel yourself having to censor yourself to be in the space.
Yeah, I mean, there's always censorship.
Yeah.
But I don't even know if it's like something that it's a bad thing. Right. I don't think it's a bad thing. I talked to one of my friends a little while ago about like, sometimes we have a secret language, right? And that you turn that off when you're in corporate spaces. I work in corporate right now. I'm in the show. And I said, sometimes everyone should not be in on your secret. And I think some things are just for us. And I'm okay with turning it off when I need to turn it off, because that's me and you, you know? And they don't have to get all of that.
At all.
So I kind of I don't think it's a bad thing when you have to censor yourself. Like, you're always going to be in spaces that you may be the minority in. And I think it's just important to take up space and not to walk in like you shouldn't be there, or walk in like, oh, I'm just so grateful to be here. No, you belong there.
Yeah.
You belong there. And I think if you walk in like you belong,
they'll receive that.
They'll receive it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will. I think so.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we can stay tapped in about, or where can people find that project and learn more about everything that you're doing and anything that's coming up?
Anything that's coming up. So I am working on another project.
Okay.
It's kind of like my marriage between songwriting and composing.
Yeah.
That will have some visual elements to it. I'm hoping to wrap up the music by the end of the year, and then the visual will be out next year. I may be doing a documentary later on this year.
Okay.
So fingers crossed. That'll be
special.
That'd be really good. The Universal Project is on Spotify. The point of that project is mostly for sync licensing. Is they're going to shop it to all their clients and see where the songs end up. So I think once the songs are placed, then we can kind of, promote and kind of move it along a little bit.
Yeah. I love that. Where can people follow you? Social media, anything like that?
I'm on Instagram.
Come on, Graham. Holla at our IG respectfully. Don't be saying Posting Black told you to holla at Shameka. Do not.
I mean, you can.
Yeah. Hilarious.
My Instagram is Shameka Dwight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Shameka, this has been a blast. Obviously, we talking like we just kicking it here.
Yeah.
But this has been a blast. It's a pleasure to have you. So excited about everything you're doing, everything that you've done, and the wisdom that you shared today is very impactful. And I'm just wishing you nothing but the best moving forward. So thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Posting Black, our season 7. Thank you again to our sponsor, Adobe, for your support. Without you, this would not be possible. We'd like to thank our supporting sponsors and our partners down in North Carolina, Trailblazer Studios and Suchi Lee Productions. Until then, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us on all things Posting Black. And until next time, stay black.